Have you ever stared at your phone, wondering why he never seems to call or text you first, even though he clearly responds when you reach out? It's frustrating, it's confusing, and it can make even the most confident woman start doubting herself. But before you blame yourself or start spiraling into worst-case scenarios, I want you to pause, because what's happening here is almost never what you think. In the next few minutes, I'm going to reveal a perspective that most women never hear, one that instantly clarifies why he isn't initiating, and more importantly, how you can shift the dynamic without begging, chasing, or changing who you are. This isn't about playing games. It's about understanding the quiet signals that create attraction and the subtle behaviors that accidentally push a man into a passive role, even when he's genuinely interested. Men don't operate the way we do emotionally or mentally, and once you understand the psychology behind his silence, everything suddenly makes sense. You'll see exactly why some men step back, why others wait for you to lead, and why many won't initiate unless a specific emotional switch is triggered in them. And here's the surprising part. The power is already in your hands. You don't need to text more, prove more, or work harder. There's a simple shift that changes his behavior naturally, and once you use it, he'll start putting in effort without you having to say a word. Let's break this down. When you're trying to understand why a man rarely initiates contact, the first thing to realize is that men process connection very differently. Women tend to communicate to feel close, to maintain emotional flow, or to express presence. Men, on the other hand, usually communicate with a specific purpose in mind, to solve something, confirm something, or take action. If he doesn't feel there's a clear reason to reach out, he may not initiate simply because it doesn't occur to him in the same emotional way it would for you. Men also tend to compartmentalize their thoughts. When he's working, focusing, or handling something stressful, he can mentally disappear into that one task. It's not that he's ignoring you, it's that his mind is built to hone in on one thing at a time. Women often interpret silence as emotional distance, but for many men, silence is just focus. There's also the layer of uncertainty. If he's unsure how you feel, afraid of coming on too strong, or worried he'll say the wrong thing, he may hold back to avoid looking needy or overeager. Some men were taught to play it cool, so they wait for you to show interest first. Others may genuinely believe they're giving you space by not initiating too often. And then there's the pattern dynamic. If you always reach out first, he naturally adapts to that rhythm. Humans stick with what works. If you're maintaining the connection, he feels no internal push to take the lead. It's not malicious, it's unconscious. But here's the important part. Men respond powerfully to energetic cues. When a woman pulls back slightly and stops initiating out of confidence, not anger or punishment, it triggers curiosity. Curiosity leads to effort, and effort reveals genuine interest. Understanding this helps you respond from clarity, not fear. When a man rarely initiates contact, the hardest part isn't the silence. It's trying to figure out what that silence means. Your mind starts spinning with scenarios. Is he genuinely busy? Is he losing interest? Or is he creating distance intentionally to see how you react? Understanding the difference is crucial, because each possibility requires a completely different emotional response from you. When a man is busy, his behavior has one clear pattern. Even if he doesn't reach out first, he still shows genuine engagement when you do. His replies might be shorter or delayed, but the tone is warm. He'll apologize for taking long. He'll make an effort to respond thoughtfully, and he won't vanish for long stretches with no explanation. A busy man doesn't act disconnected. He simply has limited bandwidth. His actions show that the connection still matters to him, even if he can't prioritize communication in the moment. Disinterest, however, has a very different energy. A disinterested man responds without enthusiasm. His replies feel flat, minimal, or emotionless. He gives one-word answers, doesn't ask questions, and avoids making plans. Conversations feel like you're pulling teeth instead of building connection. If you stopped reaching out, the entire interaction would fade because he's not contributing anything to keep it alive. A man who's losing interest stops investing, not because he's busy, but because his feelings are shifting. Testing is more subtle. Some men intentionally pull back or reduce initiation to see whether you stay grounded or start chasing. They're not playing games in a malicious way. They're observing your emotional steadiness. Can you handle a little distance without panicking? Do you have your own life, or do you rely on his attention for reassurance? A man who is testing you usually still shows interest when you do reach out. He just wants to see how you behave when he changes the rhythm. The key is not to panic, assume the worst, or rush to fix anything. Your reaction is the signal he reads the most. If you stay calm, self-assured, and balanced, you gain clarity and preserve your value, and the right man will always respond to that. The biggest mistake women make when a man stops initiating isn't texting first, reaching out, or showing interest. The real mistake is trying to compensate for his lack of effort by increasing yours. This creates an imbalance that instantly shifts the dynamic in a direction you don't want. When he takes a step back and you take 2 steps forward, you unintentionally teach him that he doesn't need to invest, because you'll carry the entire connection for the both of you. Many women fall into this trap without even realizing it. The moment he stops texting first, they start sending longer messages, trying to be funnier, more available, more supportive, or more consistent. They hope that if they just show how caring and reliable they are, he'll suddenly recognize their value and step up. But in reality, the opposite happens. He relaxes even further. Humans naturally preserve energy. If you're doing the reaching out, the checking in, and the emotional labor, he feels no internal push to meet you halfway. This mistake is rooted in fear, the fear of losing him, losing momentum, or losing the connection altogether. But when fear drives your actions, it always leads to over-effort, and over-effort feels like pressure to a man. Even if you're being sweet or supportive, your energy tells him, "I need you to respond so I feel secure." That's when his instinct is to withdraw even more. Another version of this mistake is trying to fix the situation through over-communication. You start explaining your feelings, asking where you stand, or trying to get clarity before he's earned that level of vulnerability. This kind of emotional pursuit feels heavy to a man who's already pulling back, and instead of creating closeness, it widens the gap. The antidote to this mistake isn't playing games or pretending you don't care. It's shifting out of pursuit mode and back into self-aligned energy. You don't need to punish him or cut him off. You simply stop over-investing. When you allow the connection to breathe, you give him space to feel the absence of your effort, and only then can he decide whether he cares enough to step forward. Because a man can't pursue you if you're already doing all the pursuing for him. When a man never initiates, your instinct might be to either pull away completely or try harder to keep the connection alive. But the high-value approach isn't about extremes. It's about creating a calm, confident balance that invites him to rise to the level of effort you expect. This strategy isn't manipulative, cold, or distant. It's rooted in self-respect and emotional clarity. It allows you to protect your energy while giving him the space to show you who he truly is. The first step is simple. Stop filling the silence. When he doesn't text first, resist the urge to step in and fix the communication gap. You don't need to disappear. You simply stop initiating. You're not punishing him. You're allowing the dynamic to correct itself. When you stop over-contributing, his natural level of interest becomes visible. If he cares, he'll reach out. If he doesn't, he won't. The clarity comes from your restraint, not your effort. The second step is maintaining warm, feminine, grounded energy when he does reach out. You're not shutting him down or acting cold to make a point. You're responsive, but not over-eager. You respond when it feels natural, not instantly out of fear he'll lose interest. This balance shows confidence, not neediness. It tells him you're open, but you're not waiting by your phone. The third step is letting him lead without rewarding low effort. If his message is bare minimum, a hey, after days of silence, you don't need to overcompensate. Keep the conversation light, but don't dive into deep emotional connection when he hasn't shown consistency. A high-value woman matches energy, not fantasized potential. The fourth step is focusing your emotional attention back on yourself. Get busy with your own life, not as a tactic, but as truth. The more you center yourself, your goals, your friendships, your passions, the less his inconsistency affects your self-worth. Men feel the difference between a woman who has a full life and a woman who is waiting for his next move. And that difference is what sparks pursuit. Finally, the high-value strategy is built on one core belief: if he wants to talk to you, he will. Your job isn't to force connection, it's to create space for the right connection to show itself. When you hold this energy, you naturally attract men who are ready to step up, communicate consistently, and meet you where you are. And the ones who won't, you simply stop investing in them. That's the real power. One of the hardest parts of dealing with a man who never initiates is the mental spiral. His silence can trigger. Your mind starts filling in the blanks with assumptions, fears, and stories that feel real but aren't grounded in truth. Overthinking becomes exhausting, and suddenly his lack of effort becomes a mirror for your insecurities instead of a reflection of his behavior. The key to stopping this spiral is learning to separate emotion from interpretation. Because silence itself doesn't hurt you, it's what you think it means that does. The first step is grounding yourself in reality. When he doesn't text, your brain automatically jumps to worst-case scenarios. He's losing interest. He's talking to someone else. I did something wrong. But these are emotional reactions, not facts. You have to pause and remind yourself, I don't know what this means yet. That single thought cuts off your brain's urge to fill in the blanks with fear. The second step is redirecting your attention. Overthinking thrives when your life becomes too centered around him. If your day revolves around waiting for his message, every minute of silence feels heavier. Fill your time with things that expand your energy. Hobbies, friends, work, self-care, anything that reminds you that your world is bigger than this moment. The less mental space he occupies, the less power his silence has. The third step is breaking the emotional habit of chasing reassurance. Overthinking often leads to sending extra texts, long messages, or emotional check-ins just to calm your anxiety. But reaching out from a place of fear always backfires. It makes you feel worse and can make him pull back more. When you feel the urge to chase clarity, shift your focus to calming yourself instead of trying to get a reaction from him. The fourth step is remembering that silence reveals more about him than it does about you. If a man truly wants connection, he will find a way to communicate. If he doesn't, that's information, not a reflection of your worth. Let his actions show you the truth, instead of using imagination to torture yourself. The final step is adopting a simple mantra. His effort is his message. Repeat it whenever your thoughts spiral. You don't need to decode silence or overanalyze anything. You simply watch what he does, stay grounded in your value, and respond from clarity instead of fear. Overthinking loses all its power when you stop trying to control his behavior and start mastering your own. Rebuilding your feminine energy isn't about being softer, weaker, or more accommodating. It's about returning to the version of yourself that feels grounded, magnetic, intuitive, and emotionally centered. When a man stops initiating, it's easy to slip into masculine energy, chasing, fixing, planning, overthinking, and trying to control the direction of the connection. But feminine energy thrives not in effort, but in presence. And the moment you shift back into that space, the entire dynamic changes, not because you're performing for him, but because you're reconnecting with yourself. The first part of rebuilding feminine energy is learning to receive instead of constantly giving. Many women give affection, attention, reassurance, and effort without realizing they're pouring from an empty cup. Feminine energy receives, not passively, but confidently. Instead of asking, how can I keep this connection alive? Shift to, what is he offering me? This change alone puts you back in your natural power. The second part is reconnecting with your body. Overthinking disconnects you from your emotional center. When you're anxious about his silence, you live in your head. Feminine energy lives in your senses. Slow down, take deep breaths, move your body, stretch, walk, dance, or simply sit in stillness. When you ground yourself physically, your emotional world becomes clearer and calmer. The third part is nurturing your own glow, the things that make you feel alive, confident, and lit from within. Feminine energy flourishes when you're doing things that bring you joy, whether it's creativity, self-care, connection with friends, nature, or pleasure. The more you build a life that feels full and vibrant, the less pressure you place on one man's attention. The fourth part is emotional honesty with yourself. Ask yourself, do I feel good in this connection? Am I chasing because I care, or because I'm afraid? Feminine energy thrives on truth. When you admit what you feel, you stop acting out of insecurity and start acting from alignment. The final part is trusting that what is meant for you will not require you to abandon yourself. Feminine energy doesn't cling or pressure. It allows. It knows that the right man will meet you, initiate with you, and choose you without needing to be pushed. Rebuilding this energy isn't for him. It's for you. And once you reclaim it, you stop settling for anything less than the love, effort, and attention you deserve. Getting a man to initiate isn't about manipulation, tricks, or mind games. It's about creating the conditions where he naturally wants to reach out because he feels the attraction, respect, and curiosity that you've cultivated. When a woman is always the one initiating, she unknowingly communicates that he doesn't need to step up. The energy of pursuit disappears. The key is to shift the dynamic subtly while remaining authentic, confident, and grounded in your own life. The first step is reducing overinvestment. If you're always texting first, suggesting plans, or over-explaining your feelings, you're carrying the weight of the connection. Pull back gently. Allow him to experience what it's like when you're present but not always available. This doesn't mean ignoring him coldly. It means engaging on your terms and matching his energy. When you step back from being the constant initiator, he starts noticing your absence, which naturally triggers curiosity and motivates him to reach out. The second step is creating magnetic energy in your presence. Men respond to a woman who feels alive, confident, and fulfilled. Focus on your passions, hobbies, social connections, and self-care. When your life is vibrant and independent, your energy communicates that you're a high-value woman, someone worth pursuing. A man doesn't initiate because he's obligated. He initiates because he's drawn to your energy and presence. The third step is subtle, playful cues. When he does engage, show enthusiasm in small doses without overcompensating. Keep conversations light, flirty, and enjoyable. Avoid overloading him with emotional weight or constant availability. Playfulness and warmth create a positive association, which encourages him to initiate more often to experience that energy. The fourth step is establishing healthy boundaries. Make it clear, through your actions, not ultimatums, that your time, attention, and emotional energy are valuable. If he respects your boundaries, he will step up. If he doesn't, that clarity tells you everything you need to know about his level of investment. Finally, trust the process. Stop forcing connection or chasing validation. When you cultivate self-respect, vibrant energy, and balanced engagement, initiation happens naturally. The right man will meet you in the energy you hold, making his pursuit effortless and authentic, exactly the dynamic you deserve. Knowing when to walk away is one of the most powerful skills a woman can develop in dating, especially when a man never initiates. Walking away isn't about being dramatic or punishing him. It's about protecting your emotional energy, your self-respect, and your boundaries. Many women stay in one-sided connections too long because they're hoping he'll change, prove his interest, or finally step up. But the truth is, no amount of effort on your part can make someone invest if they don't want to. The first sign it's time to walk away is consistent lack of effort. If he rarely reaches out, cancels plans, or shows minimal interest despite your clear availability and warmth, that's a pattern, not a temporary lapse. Patterns reveal priorities. When his actions consistently place you low on his list, it's a signal that he's not matching your level of commitment or respect. The second sign is emotional exhaustion. If thinking about him, waiting for his message, or analyzing his behavior leaves you anxious, drained, or questioning your worth, staying in that connection costs more than it gives. Your energy is valuable. When a relationship consistently depletes it, that imbalance indicates it's no longer serving your highest good. The third sign is lack of reciprocity. Healthy relationships are built on mutual effort, curiosity, and care. If he rarely initiates emotional connection, fails to contribute to meaningful conversations, or only shows interest when it's convenient, you're carrying the relationship alone. Walking away in this context isn't mean, it's a clear acknowledgement that you won't settle for less than what you deserve. Walking away effectively means doing so with clarity and intention, not anger or desperation. You step back fully, stop chasing, and recenter yourself. It's not about revenge or guilt tripping. It's about creating space for someone who genuinely values and pursues you. Finally, remember that walking away is empowering. It communicates self-respect, reinforces your boundaries, and protects your emotional health. It also signals to him and to yourself that you value relationships that are mutual, consistent, and respectful. When you truly mean it, walking away opens the door to authentic connections where initiation, effort, and care flow naturally both ways. It's not rejection, it's liberation. As we wrap up, it's important to remember that when a man never initiates, the solution isn't about changing him, overanalyzing his behavior, or sacrificing your self-worth. The real power lies in how you respond, in cultivating clarity, confidence, and emotional balance that naturally shifts the dynamic in your favor. Every strategy we've discussed is designed to put you back in alignment with your own value, rather than trying to chase or control someone else. The first key takeaway is that your energy sets the tone. Men respond to presence, confidence, and emotional steadiness more than words or effort. When you maintain your life, passions, and self-respect, you signal that you're a high-value woman who won't settle for being pursued halfway. Pulling back from over-initiating isn't punishment. It's a demonstration of self-worth that naturally triggers curiosity and pursuit. The second takeaway is understanding patterns versus anomalies. One missed text or a few days of silence doesn't define him, but consistent lack of effort does. Observing his actions without overthinking or filling in gaps with assumptions allows you to see reality clearly. It's in these patterns that you discover whether he's truly invested, testing your boundaries, or not ready to step up at all. Next, focus on rebuilding your feminine energy. Ground yourself in presence, pleasure, and joy. Let your life be full independently of his attention. This isn't about ignoring him or being distant. It's about reclaiming the magnetic, confident energy that draws the right man toward you naturally. Another crucial step is mastering healthy boundaries. Knowing when to step back, when to engage, and when to walk away protects your emotional well-being. Boundaries are not restrictions for him. They're your blueprint for self-respect. They ensure that if he truly values you, he will meet you where you are, rather than leaving you to carry the connection alone. Finally, trust the process. Stop forcing initiation or seeking validation through his actions. Let his effort speak for itself, and match it consciously. When you step into clarity, confidence, and self-alignment, not only does your attraction increase, but you also create space for authentic connection, where he pursues willingly and consistently. Your next step is simple. Pause, reflect, and reclaim your energy. Shift from chasing to observing, from overthinking to grounding, and from uncertainty to self-assuredness. By doing this, you're no longer reacting to him. You're creating the relationship dynamic that you actually deserve. That is the real power, and it's entirely in your hands.